Alright, okay, so continuing on with part 2 of Diet and Disease, Bible versus Science. We're gonna, I think we left off with the death enzymes, and so from eating scavengers. So these death enzymes are extraordinarily useful in nature. Without their assistance, no flesh would revert to dust. They are extremely useful to break down a corpse, but terribly inconvenient in a living human body. It also kind of makes me think of, funeral parlors that always ask you, they want to embalm a dead person. I mean, I don't know what these people's fascination is with death. It reminds me of this crabby relative I had who was trying to take over the whole burial, who I ended up saying, she was much more involved in this relative's death than she ever was while she was alive. That's sick. The Jewish way, you just, another thing, making money off the dead, that'll be my next video, but you just wrap the person in a shroud and bury them in the ground. You're going to go back to worms. I don't care if you're built in a steel, double reinforced steel casket. You're going to go back to dust. But anyways, that's another day, another video. Also, my dad also mentioned recommending reading The Maker's Diet by Jordan S. Rubin. Mr. Rubin, if you look at the book, there are a lot of pictures. He had a horrible case of Crohn's disease. He ended up healing himself through his diet, which he actually had to do. I'll just say one thing about his book, eating, dirt and things like that. And he made a full recovery. But getting on with this video, we're going to get back to, as I said, what we've done is we've narrowed this down to what's the difference in, Yahweh's saying to eat clean versus unclean animals. And the difference between those, based on the Bible and science, is the animal's diet and digestive system. So we're going to quickly go over and compare the pig and the cow's digestive system. Here I have a schematic of a cow's digestive system, where right in here there are 4 chambers and a long and a large intestine, and let's see. Let's go back to Dr. Jocker's. He had a really good article. If we scroll down, he does a really good job in comparing the pig and the cow. Let me just read it. Why is pig so toxic? The digestive system of a pig is unique in that it metabolizes food very quickly through one stomach in a process that takes about 4 hours. A cow takes, guess how long? 24 hours to digest what's eaten, and it is able to get rid of excess toxins during that long digestive process. The pig's digestive system doesn't allow for this, and the toxins are carried into the fat cells and organs of the pig itself. And as a side note, pigs also don't have sweat glands, which I didn't know. Perspiration is a key method the body uses to detoxify, and so the pig is not designed to perspire. When we consume pig, we get all their pathogens and microorganisms. And to explain the differences a little bit more, cows eat grass. They don't get a lot of nutrients, which I often wondered about. They need to ferment the grass in multiple levels of their stomachs to get the most out of it. There are a number of differences, mostly due to the different diets between pigs and cattle. Cattle are foregut fermenters that eat a primarily grass-based diet. Their stomach has developed into 4 separate chambers, and they have a well-developed cecum as well as a relatively long, large intestine. Pigs do not have internal fermentation, as they eat an omnivorous diet of both plants and insects. Their digestive tract is very similar to humans. There's that schematic again. The pig's stomach arrangement is very simple in design and function, is combined with a limited excretory organ system. 4 hours after the pig has eaten his polluted swill and other putrid, offensive matter, man may eat the same swill second-handed off the ribs of the pig. In other words, you see, if you're eating meat from this cow, anywhere you cut, it's this, the grass or whatever he eats is already digested. And if you, as opposed to, you know, this, you know, this pig, okay, this pig here coming up, that's just stuff inside the pig. You know, you slice off some ribs, whatever, you know, bacon, and since the food's not digested, you're going to be eating what he ate. So, the scavenger creatures on land and water and in the air that Yahweh forbids man to eat are essentially flesh and waste product eaters. So, I mean, even if we go over here, Dirty Waters about catfish. Getting back to catfish, you know, like I said, in college we were taught that, you know, you see catfish, those are indicators for, literally indicators, meaning, oh, it must be polluted waters, red flag, polluted waters. This is over in Vietnam, I believe, where the Mekong River, which is extremely polluted, they harvest all this catfish, and they're saying in the video that a lot of it gets shipped to the United States, United Kingdom.
Raised in the Mekong River water, landed on grocery shelves and restaurant menus in the United States. That's 14 times more than just 6 years ago. And less than 2% of that was inspected by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Of the tiny fraction that was tested, much of the fish contained potentially dangerous carcinogens, veterinary drugs, and salmonella, the result of unsafe farming practices and pollutants in one of the world's dirtiest rivers.
Yeah.
Development and population explosion.
Like, they literally dump their, all these people that have lived here, dump their raw sewage and
transportation, agriculture, and aquaculture. At the same time, catfish farming and
catfish thrive. There you go.
The banks of the Mekong.
Much of the wisdoms in the divine design for meats was confirmed. Now this is really interesting. This scientist here. Much of the wisdom in the divine design for meats was confirmed by a 1953 study in which a Dr. David Macht, M-A-C-H-T, of Johns Hopkins University, reported the toxic effects of animal flesh on a controlled growth culture, or a petri dish. A substance was classified as toxic if it slowed the culture's growth rate below 75%. The table below is based on Dr. Macht's study. His results show that the lower the growth percentage of the culture, the more toxic the flesh. Note that the flesh of animals and fish given to us by Elohim for food are all non-toxic, but all forbidden animals lie in the toxic range, thus proving once again the Bible is correct and true. But don't get confused. Any number above 75% is non-toxic or clean. The differences between clean and unclean animals appear to be related to their primary food source and to their digestive systems. So in other words, he took, a piece of tissue from each of these. I'll show you the chart. Okay, so here we have the chart. Okay. And, so there we have clean, hoofed and cud chewing versus unclean. Okay, whoops. So we've got on the clean side, calf, deer, goat, ox. They're in the 80 to 90% range. We go to the unclean, we've got bear, camel, cat, dog, fox, grizzly bear. They're all 59, 41, 62, 46, dog 62, grizzly bear 55, hamster 46, horse 39%, rabbit 49%, rat 55%. I thought it was interesting that eating a horse is worse than eating a rabbit. Squirrel 43, swine 54. Eating a horse is worse than eating a pig. But eating a pig is worse than eating a rat. And, I remember 2 times I've seen this fumbling Congress actually voting on whether to make it legal to slaughter horses for food, as they find it a delicacy in Europe. Yeah, I wonder how delicate their health is over there. Going on to fish, clean with scales and fins. Black bass, black drum, bluefish, carp, channel. There's a whole list of fish we're allowed to eat here. All, look at this. Looks like from this chart, sea bass, 103%. Really safe to eat. Shad, 100. Pompano, 110. Herring, 100%. Hake is up there at 98%. Black drum. But the unclean fish, catfish. Catfish comes in at 43%. I'm sorry, 48%. See, not good. Eel, 40. Your shark, 62. Puffer, 51. Toadfish, stingray. And then we get over to, finally, the fowl. Nothing on the clean side. Unclean, kite, nighthawk, osprey, ostrich, owl, raven, red-tailed hawk, sparrow. And then the insects. Unclean, no insects. Clean, cricket, grasshopper, locust. So, I thought that was very, basically, he pretty much proved that the Bible is correct. Animals described as clean and therefore good for food primarily eat grasses and grains. Although they are considered to be good food in some countries, studies show that horse meat often contains viruses and parasites. Rabbits, as innocent as they appear, are the cause of tularemia, an infectious disease in humans. One reason Elohim's rule forbidding pork is that digestive system of pigs is completely different from that of a cow, which we went over. In the United States, 3 of the 6 most common foodborne parasitic diseases of humans are associated with pork consumption. These include toxoplasmosis, Taniasis or cysticercosis caused by the pork tapeworm, Tania selenium, and trichinosis. In Japan, the source of these infections...
We'll go ahead and play a video right now.
Let me turn this back off. In Japan, the source of these infections was traced to the flesh of pigs, bears, horses, raccoons, and foxes. All these animals are listed in Scripture as putrid and unclean. Swine are also good incubators of toxic parasites and viruses, although the animal doesn't usually appear to be ill while carrying these diseases. A scientist at the University of Gießen's Institute for Virology in Germany showed in a study of worldwide influenza epidemics that pigs are the one animal that can serve as a mixing vessel for new influenza viruses that may seriously threaten world health. If a pig is exposed to a human's DNA virus and then a bird's virus, the pig mixes the two viruses, developing a new DNA virus that is often extremely lethal for humans. These viruses have already caused worldwide epidemics and destruction. In 1942, Yearbook of Agriculture reported that 50 diseases were found in pigs. Many of these diseases are passed on to humans by eating the pig's flesh. Additionally, just handling swine has an element of risk. A large hog raising facility in the area where my dad lived, or where I live too, wisely requires its employees to wear gloves, masks, and protective clothing while working in the pig barns. The workers are required to shower each day before going home. I mean, that tells you something right there. Two interesting observations in the following tables: that flesh of pigs is more toxic than flesh of rats, as I said, and that the Torah is once more proven to be authentic from the Bible. So I wanted to in this, I wanted to bring up there was a man called Dr. Gerson. Here we go. I don't know if you've heard of him. Anyone's heard of him? The Gerson Miracle is the name of this video. But I would encourage everybody to go to see. That's his daughter after he died, Charlotte Gerson. She's got some excellent videos. And his name was Dr. Max Gerson. As I read this, I'm going to play this video, I guess. The cure for virtually every form of chronic disease was discovered by accident by one man, Dr. Max Gerson. He was a German Jew, which I'll get into. Adhered to by Hitler and Nazi Party. Dr. Gerson's family paid the ultimate price. Dr. Gerson's 7 siblings perished in the Holocaust. In a paper that I wrote about Dr. Gerson, this is a book that I ordered. This was his actual, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Still another hapless victim of the Nazis, who was a German Jew who escaped the persecution in Nazi Germany, was a Jewish doctor named Dr. Max Gerson. Summarizing from 2 videos online, namely Dying to Have Known and What They Won't Tell You, Gerson Therapy Document, Cancer Cure, he was involved with the supposed to stay hidden natural cures of the world club by the worst of the worst. Dr. Gerson was a doctor in Germany who started out curing his own headaches by a trial and error diet. Turn this down a little bit. A cure which ended up also being a cure for tuberculosis. He was actually the first person to cure tuberculosis, but he wasn't given the credit. Involving a combo of fresh, raw foods combined with some cooked organic fresh vegetables and fruits along with coffee enemas. In a study done in 1924, 446 of the 450 tuberculosis patients walked away cured from his diet therapy. By the time Max Gerson escaped Nazi persecution in Germany, he fled to the U.S. and had already begun curing people from cancer with the same diet. 1924 Nobel recipient Albert Schweitzer asked Dr. Gerson to cure him of diabetes along with his wife of lung tuberculosis and his daughter's skin diseases. And that's just what Dr. Gerson did. He was able to cure all 3 family members
Warm air moves north.
This got the attention of Senator Claude Pepper. Senator Pepper held subcommittee hearings with Gerson and some of his patients. These hearings were reported on ABC radio by a Graham Swing and was quickly accepted by the public. However, it got threatening reactions from the medical and drug communities. Sound familiar? Graham Swing was fired 2 weeks later by an act of censorship. To this day, doctors refuse to talk about Gerson cancer treatment to their patients for fear of retribution. Only in America is Dr. Gerson's name forbidden to cross the lips of a physician. Asia and Europe openly accept Gerson hospitals, but not here. One has to travel to Mexico to get treatment from a Gerson Institute hospital. When Dr. Gerson's first manuscript for his book was nearly finished, he fell incurably ill from arsenic poisoning from testing himself. Upon nursing himself back to health, he found the manuscript for his book missing, where he caught his secretary stealing his files and passing them on to a rogue physician. It took Dr. Gerson a full year to reconstruct his manuscript from memory alone. His classic cancer therapy results of 50 cases was finally published. After publishing his book, though, he fell unexplainably ill again before he died. Before he died, he had tested himself again, which confirmed he had been poisoned with arsenic, 150 times arsenic in blood, which caused his pneumonia. Had Dr. Gerson died the first time he fell ill from poisoning, his classic book would have been erased forever. His daughter, Charlotte Gerson, continued on with her teaching about the Gerson therapy, where you can find her videos on YouTube. I just got through ordering his book I found online from their store, and it felt really good ordering and contributing to his good work and what the evil hidden elite want to help keep hidden. It is a fact that cancer treatment centers are the closest thing to Nazi torture camps that exist today, where they make hundreds of thousands of profits. And here is his book, Max Gerson, MD, A Cancer Therapy. And if nothing else, you should just order this book just to piss some people off. These are an actual, just 50 cases. I mean, hundreds. People would go into his office where other doctors had given him 3 to 6 months to live, and then he would cure them. 6 months to live, cured. 3 months to live, cured. He literally, cured people on their deathbed with this diet of his. Really shocking. And that is, without, except for this one more thing. This is the author of this book, my dad, and there's my mom. She's part Native American as I. I have the Native American section in this book, as I said earlier. My dad, and then my dad at an abortion rally. He really stood by his convictions. And like his if there's one thing I know with certainty about my granddad, this is what his granddaughter wrote, his self-assurance. He took his beliefs and stood 12 feet tall of them. He invested himself with facts. If he didn't know about a subject, and then soared with it. He was a man who walked with certainty, and on those rare occasions when he wasn't certain, he made it a priority to reach that point. That assurance is a quality I saw in him when I was a child, and now as an adult I've learned that most people don't carry that quality. Not the way he carried it, in his eyes, his walk, or in the passion with which he spoke. I will strive day after day to grow to be like my grandfather in that respect. To be assured of myself, to always be assured of myself. That alone will take me places. And if more people could be that way, and like Dr. Gerson and others, it would be a much better place to live, right? And then one more book I found, Rising from the Dead. This author, Suzanne Humphreys, earned a degree in physics before heading to medical school, later specializing in nephrology. This young doctor's dreams of healing people were gradually crushed as she realized she would have to sell her soul to protocols and conform to policies which made no scientific sense and endangered patients. Like many doctors, she was on the way to becoming one of the walking dead. In 2009, her stand against medical policies which injured her patients and violated her ethical integrity resulted in peer hostility and ostracism. So, and that's about all I have to say. Over and out.